जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी कुंज बिहारी गोपी गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जय यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यमुना वनचारी यमुना वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी कुंज बिहारी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जनरंजन यमुना वनचारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Jaya Gaurangi Bengalurishwara Gaurangi Bengalurishwara Gaurangi, Jaya Gaurangi Bengalurishwara Gaurangi Bengalurishwara Gaurangi, Jaya Jagannatha Mahadeva, Jai Subhadra, Jaya Sudarshana, Jagannatha, Jaya Mahadeva, Jaya Nitai Chaitanya, Jaya Nitai Chaitanya, Nitai Chaitanya, Jaya Nitai Chaitanya, Nitai Chaitanya, Jaya Nitai Chaitanya, Jaya Nitai Chaitanya, Jaya Nitai Chaitanya, Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha, Jaya Bhavananta Devi, Narasimha, Jaya Bhavananta Devi, Narasimha, Jaya Bhavananta Devi, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्र सदस्य श्रीमद् अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टोत्र सदस्य श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिगोवर्धन की जय। ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। मायापुर श्री नवद्वीप धाम की जय। मथुरा धाम की जय। द्वारका धाम की जय। जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। यमुना माई की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। तुलसी महारानी की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। गौर भक्त प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Harihi Om Tat Sat. So Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to ISKCON Seshadripuram's morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. Today we will be discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 7th chapter, 40th verse. Well, give me a second, I will just. Bhagavatam, fourth canto, seventh chapter, the sacrifice performed by Daksha, and 40th verse. Share the screen. Read the verse. Brahmo uvacha namaste shrita sattvaye dharmadhinam cha sutaye nirgunaya cha yat kastham naham veda pare apicha. What word meaning? Brahma, the personified Vedas. Uvacha said, Namaha, respectful obeisances. Te, unto you. Shrita Sattvaya, the shelter of the qualities of goodness. Dharma Adhinam, of all religion, austerity and penance. Cha, and Sutaye, the source. Nirgunaya, transcendental to material qualities. Cha, and Yat, of whom? Of the Supreme Lord. Kashtam, the situation. Na, not. Aham, I. Veda, no. Apare, others. Api, certainly. Cha, and. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The personified Vedas said, we offer our respectful obeisances unto you, the Lord, the shelter of the quality of goodness, and therefore the source of all religion, austerity, and penance. For you are transcendental to all material qualities, and no one knows you or your actual situation. Purport. In the material world, there is the trinity of the three material qualities. Lord Vishnu has accepted the superintendence of the quality of goodness, which is the source of religion, knowledge, austerity, renunciation, opulence, etc. Because of this, actual peace, prosperity, knowledge, and religion can be attained when the living entity are under the control of the quality of goodness in the material world. As soon as they are subjected to the control of the other two qualities, namely passion and ignorance, their precarious conditional life becomes intolerable. But Lord Vishnu, in his original position, is always nirguna, which means transcendental to these material qualities. Guna means quality, and nirguna means negation. This does not indicate, however, that he has no qualities. He has transcendental qualities by which he appears and manifests his pastime. The positive transcendental quality manifestation is unknown to the student of the Vedas as well as to the great stalwart demigod like Brahma and Shiva. Actually, the transcendental qualities are manifested only to the devotees. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, simply by discharging devotional service, one can understand the transcendental position of the Supreme Lord. Those who are in the mode of goodness can partially enter into the transcendental understanding, but it is advised in Bhagavad Gita that one has to surpass this. The Vedic principles are based on the three qualities of material modes. One has to transcend the three qualities, and then one can be situated in pure, simple spiritual life. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurpurmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadanti Swa Padantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagra Jatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tamsa Jeevam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deena Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrinda Vaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin iti namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaurabhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hari Om Tat Sat. So again, welcome all devotees for ISKCON Seshadripuram's morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. So today, this verse that we are discussing is in the 4th canto, 2nd chapter. The chapter is entitled, 4th canto, 7th chapter and 40th verse. 4th canto, 7th chapter, 40th verse. And here you can see that there is a prayer offered by the personified Vedas himself to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, so the context is like this, that we have been hearing about, the yajna performed by Daksha and how Lord Shiva actually was insulted, and how the followers of Lord Shiva and the followers of Daksha, they clashed with each other, and all that was settled. And subsequently, Lord Shiva asked them to continue with the yajna. And now, during the performance of the yajna, the personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna in the form of Lord Vishnu, appeared in the arena, in the yajna arena, and being satisfied with the yajna, he appeared. And as soon as he appeared, there are various, all the personalities present there, then they are all offering prayers. So we have been seeing, the last, 7, 8, 10 slokas possibly, where each of the personalities present there are actually offering their prayers. So all the top who's who of in the assembly, they are all making their prayers. And this is the turn of the Vedas personified, the person who represents the Veda, or the demigod who represents Veda. He is actually making this offering, a prayer offering to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So I was trying to go through all the prayers made by the earlier speakers. And one thing which came out was each speaker was offering a prayer which is more relevant to his realization, his understanding, and what he is connected with. So, for example, when Indra was making his offering, he was making his offering saying that, you are the, you are the destroyer of the demons. So for him, the demons are a big problem. And therefore, he sees Lord Indra as a protector, Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu as a protector for him, and one who destroys his enemies. Like this, each Lord Shiva, when he was making his prayer, he sort of tried to, Prabhupada was writing in that verse that, I sort of momentarily lost my cool, kind of a thing, but he was repenting. But he was saying, how is it that he could avoid such things? Therefore, he was saying, I'm always focused on your lotus feet. I'm always meditating on you. But the minute something does not happen like that, then the situation could happen. That he got angry or something like that. So he says like this, and then if I see Daksha's wife, she's sort of saying, the bodily beauty is it's not good when the head is not there. Like her husband lost his head, and then he was replaced with I think goat's head. So these kind of people are all relating to what their situation is, and they are trying to see the Lord in relation to how the Lord could actually has helped them, or how the Lord is protecting them, and similar such statements. So in this particular verse, it is the Vedas who are speaking, and therefore we can see the what the Vedas are speaking in relation to the context of how Veda should be seen, or how Vedas and the spiritual progress are connected, like that. That I could sort of understand with my limited capability to understand the earlier verses. So let me once more. Let's go read that verse. The personified Vedas said, "We offer our respectful obeisances unto you, the Lord, the shelter of the quality of goodness, and therefore the source of all religion, austerity, and penance. For you are transcendental to all material qualities, and no one knows you or your actual situation." So this is the prayer by the Vedas, and he is talking about the three qualities of material mode. And if you really see, the Vedas comprises almost 95-96% of the Vedas are dealing with the actually Vedas, if you all of you know, that it reads with dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, but predominated by the first four, and more so dharma, more from a from a material, what to do and what not to do kind of a thing, plus artha, kama, and these three mainly, and last but moksha. So the Vedas also deals with the moksha aspect of it, but the predominating matter dealt with are the first three, dharma, artha, kama, and more the second and third, the artha and kama. So generally people give a lot of importance to the Vedas, and they are also following the Vedic scriptures to be able to get the artha and kama. But the idea is that, that doesn't mean Vedas are very materialistic or whatever. The Vedas are there to gradually elevate a living entity towards the highest purpose of life. And that is the moksha aspect of it. And naturally, there are different people at different stages of their evolution. Evolution means not the Darwin's theory of evolution, but the evolution of the soul in terms of the realization, in terms of the knowledge of finding the solution of ending this material existence. And one acquires that according to his past deeds. That it's also mentioned very nicely in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 14th chapter. Very wonderful. The chapter is the three modes of material nature. If I see that, there's a verse, nice verse. Sattam rajastama iti gunaha prakriti sambhavaha nibatnanti mahabaho dehe dehinam avyayam. The translation is, material nature consists of three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the eternal living entity comes in contact with nature, O mighty armed Arjuna, he becomes conditioned by these modes. So when a living entity comes in contact with material nature, then he is attached to any of these three. And how those three, how is the choice made? Is it by random? That, by random I get Sattva Guna, by random I get Rajo Guna, by random I get Tattva Raja and Tamo Guna. I get the Tamo Guna. That needs to be also understood properly. And it's not a simply like, some kind of probability or something, mathematical probability. I could get this or I could get that. What are the chances of me getting this? It's not like that. it is more driven by our past actions and our past desires and our existence in so many past lives. So what is the kind of activities that we have done, basis which our gunas drive us. So if you are more, my desires, my actions are all very deeply, so very, what is called ugra, then I am naturally getting the rajoguna in it. So this is a very complicated thing, but it is an evolved thing. It is not like by suddenly it comes like this. And also all the living entities have a combination of all these three. It is not like someone is purely only in goodness, or purely means exclusively in goodness, exclusively in passion, or exclusively in ignorance. There's a combination, but whatever is predominating character of that person, then the person generally tends to be more in that mode. But everybody has a combination of all the other three also. So this is to be understood. And it is also mentioned subsequently, next shloka, it clearly talks here, the Veda speaks about the Lord Vishnu is actually giving shelter, right? The word, 40th verse. So it says, unto you, the Lord, the shelter of the quality of goodness. So the Lord is the shelter of the quality of goodness. So for that, what is the goodness is all about? That is being discussed in the next verse. It talks about tatra sattam nirbalatvat prakashakam anamayam sukha sangena badnati jnana sangena cha naga. The translation is, O sinless one, the mode of goodness being purer than the others is illuminating, and it frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode becomes conditioned by the sense of happiness and knowledge. So here, the last line, if you see, it says, the one who's in mode of goodness is also in a conditioned state. It says, becomes conditioned by a sense of happiness and knowledge. So when you say condition, this is a mode of what do you call material nature, that we become conditioned to something. That means we are sort of controlled by something. Particularly, when you talk about happiness and knowledge, this talk is particularly about the material world, and also about frees one from the sinful reactions. So these are all of the material qualities. Sinful reactions are there only in the material world. There is nothing called sinful reaction in the spiritual world. Everyone is sinless there. So the material, the mode of goodness is the best among the worst, if I am to put it in a different way, from a material world point of view. And it's also that it is the most conducive one for someone to take up the search for ending these miseries. So that's the beginning platform of the elevation of the consciousness. Up to that, it doesn't matter. Animals and, in ignorance and passion, it's all the same, because it keeps us evolving only into this repeated birth, death, old age, and disease. But when one comes to the mode of goodness, there is a very good possibility that he can start the journey of transcendenting this material modes and going to the spiritual mode. And therefore, Lord Vishnu is directly giving shelter to this mode of goodness, because, it's like when a student is coming to the main examination point, right? Or, in a career, like there are some important stages when we are studying in school, 10th standard, 12th standard, then, the higher, the third year of the degree, or when you are finishing your master's, the second year, and like that, because those are very critical juncture. If we do well, then that gives a very good uplift there. Okay, 5th, 6th, 7th, and here and there, it's okay. But if I reach that 10th standard, and I have to be very careful, because that determines what direction I take when I go to the 11th and 12th. And again, similarly, which engineering I take depends on how I do in the 12th examination and all that. So then generally you have to have a very good teacher at that point in time so that he can train you nicely, he or she can train you nicely, and you can move forward. Like this, Lord Vishnu is personally taking care of this mode of goodness. Like, he manifests into the Supreme Lord manifests into the form of Vishnu and takes direct charge, and he gives shelter to this quality of goodness has been mentioned by the Vedas. So this also should make one understand that the Lord is above this mode of goodness also. Many of us means generally people who are not having this Vaishnava philosophy of thinking, they may tend to think the Lord is also within the three modes and sometimes even controlled by the three modes. But clearly it is mentioned he is giving shelter to the mode of goodness. When you give shelter, then you are above it. You cannot give shelter when you yourself is struggling with it, right? For example, how can I save someone when I myself is drowning in the water? If someone has fallen into the water, if only if I know swimming, if I am in control of swimming, can I jump in and save that person who is drowning. But if I myself is in a state of drowning, how can I save another person? Therefore, when we say give shelter, he is above the mode of goodness. The Lord is always in Shuddha Sattva. That is very important to understand. And Shuddha Sattva is transcendental, but Sattva is actually material. Therefore, the Lord is transcendental to all these qualities. Well, what is the other thing that we need to discuss? But again, as we said, even though it is material, it is important that one comes to this point of Shuddha Sattva, to the point of Sattva, because Sattva is a position where it is easy to understand devotional life. Easy to understand. Easy means it gives a very good platform to understand devotional life. But therefore, one may ask, therefore, in my analysis of myself, I understand I am more driven by passion. So is it that therefore I am not eligible to take up devotional service, or I am in the mode of ignorance? Does it mean that I should not take up devotional service? This question should naturally come to our minds, and then there are very nice answers. Krishna himself is actually giving it in the Bhagavad Gita. But what we need to understand, the philosophy that we need to understand is that this path of devotion, the path of bhakti, is not dependent on anything at all. This is very, very clear. If we have this understanding, then we don't have to worry about these questions will not come to our mind. For example, the path of karma will have to lead you to the path of jnana. If you are able to follow the path of karma yoga, then it may lead you to the jnana. If you are able to have jnana, then it may lead to, by the knowledge of jnana, who's Lord, then you come to the point of bhakti. But bhakti is actually not dependent on any of these things. That means I don't need to have karma. I don't need to have understanding of karma yoga to be able to come to the bhakti yoga platform. It's not like 1, 2, and 3. No. This is actually completely independent of the other. Someone cannot just acquire jnana yoga without, in a way, very much attached to the karma yoga. It's more of a progression. But you should also see in all of these three, there is bhakti. Even while you are following karma yoga, there is bhakti. Even while you are following jnana yoga, there is bhakti. But bhakti may not be predominant. Bhakti may not be with full knowledge. But bhakti is still there. Similarly, even when doing karma yoga, bhakti is there, but it is not predominant. But when you come to the actual plane of bhakti, bhakti is predominant, and the other things are byproducts. They may be there, but it is not necessary that they have to be there to become perfection in the bhakti yoga, because there are so many devotees who are who may not be having a very good knowledge, but because of their bhakti, they are already in full knowledge. There are many such examples like this. You know, I mean, I can quote some examples I read of. I mean, we all know many specific examples where people may not have complete knowledge of all the Shastras, but there is this nice example of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? And there is one when he was in the South India tour, he was traveling to parts of Tamil Nadu. I think when he was in Srirangam, he came across one devotee who was reading Srimad Bhagavad Gita. But so when he was seeing him, that he was having the book upside down and he was like reading it. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw him and went and approached him and he said, "What are you doing?" He says, "I'm reading Bhagavad Gita." Then he's saying, "But then you are holding the book upside down like this." He says, "Yeah, but I'm sorry, but I actually do not know. I don't know to read. So if you don't know the thing, you don't even know what is what, something like that." So he was not able to read properly. Then why are you just keeping this book and trying to make this one like you are reading? And he said, "No, my spiritual master told me that I should read Bhagavad Gita, but I don't have a good knowledge of. I don't have a ability to read or write. But still, my spiritual master told me to read, so I am reading. Like I'm trying to read," like that he was saying. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very pleased. He actually embraced that devotee and said, "Actually, it does not matter whether you know to read or write, but you have already understood the entire content of Bhagavad Gita." And he also asks in a way that what you like in the Bhagavad Gita. Then whatever he had heard, some of it he was saying that actually Lord Krishna was serving to Arjuna like a charioteer, and the Supreme Lord, if he is just acting like a charioteer and in the process he is actually hurt by so many bows and arrows which is hitting him, there's so much of dust. And Arjuna, while driving, we all know, it's like when you have a car, you use the steering to drive. But here the fighter is sitting on top and he's engaged with his hands with bow and arrow. And actually he's the one who gives direction to the charioteer to say go left, go right, like that. So when he has to give such commands, like he can't be talking to him or whatever. So he uses his leg to touch him on the left side. Then he should understand, the charioteer should understand I should move left. He uses his leg to kick him on the right side. Then he understands I have to move to the right, like this. So Krishna was actually taking these kind of kicks from Arjuna to serve and be in that position of a Sarathi. So he was very much, having a lot of feeling for Krishna, that, oh, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, how come that, he's taking such a lowly position and serving his devotee like this. So he was expressing that. That is something which I really, I am very much taken deeply by the mood of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, like that he told. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "You have understood Bhagavad Gita more than anyone else who has actually studied it so very well, the text and the translation and all that. But you are someone who has understood Bhagavad Gita very well." So here, there is no knowledge here, in the sense that, reading, writing, all those kind of knowledge. But because of performing devotional service, following in the footsteps of the Acharya, he is attained perfection. So like this, Bhakti is not dependent on any of these three modes of passion or modeness of ignorance or even mode of goodness. But if someone is in the situated in the mode of goodness, things become easier for him. That needs to be understood, but we should also understand that doesn't mean one should come to the mode of goodness before he is able to progress. So there are a few of these things that if we have in our mind, then that gives us the confidence to move forward, that I may not be very much in the mode of goodness, but still, because Bhakti is not dependent on any of these things, if I take the Bhakti route, then for me to attain the Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes very easy. And Krishna somewhere else also says in Bhagavad Gita, the three modes of nature are very difficult to overcome, right? I'm not able to recollect that specific verse, but the English translation is like this. The three modes of nature are very difficult to overcome, but one who has taken shelter of my lotus feet can easily overcome it. In that, not exact word-to-word translation, but it is in that direction. One who has taken shelter of me can easily overcome it. This is the verse by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. Therefore, if we are able to take up the path of devotion, then it becomes so easy to transcend these three modes, and we can be situated in the mode of Shuddha Sattva. So that is understood. So this, what is time? 8:43. Okay. Now let me look at another aspect of the thing which is covered in this purport. It's also mentioned, but Lord Vishnu in his original position is always Nirguna. So many a times the impersonalists, they are using this word Nirguna to say the Lord does not have a form. So this is to be understood in the right perspective. Nirguna means one, guna means qualities, nir means lack of that quality. So, if you exactly translate also, you may get to understand, therefore, the Lord does not have any quality. It could therefore simply mean it is also not having a form. It could be interpreted in different ways. But Nirguna is that the Acharyas clearly translate that he is above the three gunas. These three gunas are material in nature, Sattva, Tamo, and Rajas. Nirguna means one who is not in any of these three modes. That doesn't mean he does not have guna or he does not have form. He is not having these three modes. That means Sattva, Raja, and Tona. He is devoid of Sattva, is devoid of Rajo, he is devoid of Tamo. Then what has he got? He has got Shuddha Sattva, which is above the three modes, and he is giving shelter to the topmost mode. Shelter means, which is, we already discussed elaborately, that means he is above those three, that particular mode. And goodness is the topmost, therefore the below two, so automatically he is above those two also. It is implied from that logic that he is above even the Tamo and the Rajoguna. And Shuddha Sattva is the actual position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And therefore, you cannot simply say that Nirguna means no form or no guna. He is transcendented. He is transcendent, not transcendented. If you say transcendented, that means he is come above it by struggle. Like humans transcend it and come. That means we are already in that guna and then we go over it. But Krishna is never in these three gunas. He is always above it. And that is why he's saying they are under my control. It is not like he just controlled them by his yogic power or something like that. He was original. It's not like he's once below that and then he developed some yogic power and then he transcended that. No, that could be possible for humans, but for him, he always transcended. Which means he is never below it was never below it at any point in time. So this is important. And there is also a verse in second chapter in Bhagavad Gita where Krishna says, what is that? Nishtraigunya Bhavarjuna. That means one has to elevate oneself above the three modes of material nature to be able to come to the point of devotional service, or come to the point of spiritual life, not devotional service, to the point of spiritual life. When we are doing devotional service, we should understand we are in that platform, at least momentarily. For example, if I am like managing a queue, and in that queue, my intent clearly is to ensure nice, orderly movement to perform the Abhishek for the Lordship, assuming that queue is for performing. And in that time, I show a little bit of extra. It looks like, I am being very strict. I'm saying, hey, why are you moving out? Just please stand in the line. Don't hide the view. When I'm little hard and telling people like that, it may be seen as it is in the mode of passion, but this action should be seen in the light of performance of the devotional service. And therefore, it is actually also transcendental. It is not an action in the mode of passion. It is in the action of what do you call Shuddha Sattva. Similarly, if I am performing Abhishek, I am doing, my face may look very smiling and that doesn't mean I am in the mode of goodness. I am in the mode of Sattva Guna, at least at that point in time when I'm focused in this Abhishek, at least when I'm in that point when I am actually being very strict to a devotee, with the intention of ensuring that, the Abhishekam is happening smoothly and it is very nice and pleasant. With that intent, when I'm doing that action is actually Shuddha Sattva action. But I may not be in that pure state all the time. And then I come to my normal state and shout for something else, which is material. And then I am in my mode of passion, or I'm in my mode of goodness. If I'm showing nice, pleasant behavior to someone else, I may be considered in a mode of goodness. But activities performed in devotional service are never in any of these modes. That we need to understand. But coming back to this Nirguna, when the Lord is actually mentioned as Nirguna, he is transcended to these three modes of material nature. And this saying that Lord does not have form, then how is it that the Lord came? I mean, this entire thing is because the Lord appeared, and the entire prayers are happening because the Lord has appeared. If he's having no form, then there's no question of that formlessness appearing somewhere, right? Anyway, if there's no form, what is there to see, even for that matter? So how will even people understand that? So, and it is also explained very beautifully how the Lord looked when he came, how his effulgence was there. He was having effulgence, but he also had a beautiful body, and that effulgence was dimming everybody else's effulgence. In that assembly, such great personalities are Lord Shiva, like Lord Shiva, Lord Narada, and many big, powerful personalities were there. They were all very effulgent. The moon, the sun, they were all effulgent. But when the Lord appeared there, their effulgence dimmed, which means the Lord is most effulgent of all the personalities, and he has a very clear personality. So this Nirguna should not be wrongly understood as the Lord is actually someone who does not have a form. The Lord has a perfect, most beautiful form. And of course, that form can expand into different categories. That is separate matter of discussion. Let's see if there is something else. And the next one is the positive transcendental quality manifestation is unknown to the student of the Vedas as well as to the great stalwart demigods like Brahma and Shiva. So this is very, very, very important. So by following simply the Vedic injunctions, one cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Very, very, very clear. See, even great personalities of like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, if they cannot fully understand Krishna, what about the so-called Vedic scholars? What is that? Dvivedis and Trivedis and Chaturvedis of the world, they cannot understand. Just because I'm a Chaturvedi, I need to understand. I'm not talking about any particular surname here. I am talking about one who's got knowledge of the four Vedas, Chaturvedi. That doesn't mean he can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is very clearly given by Prabhupada here, and also Krishna many places mentions that. Actually, the transcendental qualities are manifested only to the devotees. And how you can attain it? As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, simply by discharging devotional service, one can understand the transcendental position of the Supreme Lord. Very beautiful. Those who are in the mode of goodness can partially enter into the transcendental understanding, but it is advised in Bhagavad Gita that one has to surpass this. That is what I said, Nishtraigunya Bhavarjuna. These Vedic principles are based on the three qualities of material mode. So the point is, if one comes to this platform of bhakti and attains to the state of pure prema, or pure love of Godhead, then he can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Otherwise, by simply understanding only the Vedic injunction, one cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that applied even to Lord Brahma. That is why it said, okay, see, if you see for that example, when Lord Krishna was there, I was hearing Bhanu Maharaj class. There was some question and answer session in that he was talking about it. See, when Lord Krishna was there, when he was fighting in the, with the Chanura and all, when he went to kill, when he went to meet his mama, Kamsa, at that time, all these wrestlers, they were there and they were fighting. Then there were these great realized souls, or great, I don't know if realized, but a lot of highly elevated personalities like Rishi Munis, they were there. They were also seeing Krishna fight there. But they did not have the understanding that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Their understanding was, yes, here is a great personality who is actually like God. Like God. Like means one who's becoming God, the so-called the impersonalists, that I am a soul, but I can become God. I can elevate my conscious to a level that I can become God. And that means, like God is, means then why are you not giving the utmost importance? Because one day I will also become that God. So I don't have to give that person the supermost position. He is arrived there, I am arriving there. It's not like, someone reaches yeah, the top floor, then those who are in the ninth or 10th floor does not have to think he is the greatest. Yeah, I am also getting there, right? It's not like, so, but in devotional service, it's not like that, right? When I am having my spiritual master, I go to the spiritual world, and I have also arrived in the spiritual world. That doesn't mean my spiritual master is equal to me, right? This is not the understanding what Vaishnavas have. I may also be now in that platform of meeting Krishna directly, shaking hands with him. That doesn't mean I should think, okay, now I and my spiritual master are same. But in the impersonal concept, it is always there that you use that person as the stepping ladder and go up, and then you think, okay, no, I and him are the same. Many a times the disciple is even considered bigger than the spiritual master in many places when you think of the materialistic way of looking at this hierarchy of the guru and the shishya, and even in impersonalism it is there. But in spiritual, what do you call it, in the personal, that means in the Vaishnava philosophy, it is never like that there. So the point is, these people thought Krishna is actually, yeah, great, maybe like God, but then he's not the supreme personality of Godhead. There is nothing called supreme personality of Godhead. So they never surrendered to Krishna, even those higher personalities. Like that, in that conversation, Bhanu Maharaj mentioned this. Similarly, all the devatas, they go take darshan of the Supreme Lord Mahavishnu, right? But then why they don't come to that absolute pure loving devotional platform? That is because that understanding of Krishna in his full glory is not there. Like they are more thinking in relation to them, he is superior and therefore he can protect them, he can do this, he can do that. Therefore they go to him. But whether the perfect understanding of Krishna in the mood of Goloka Vrindavan, they don't get it. But one who's in pure devotional service, who does not look to get anything in return for their service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, such people will actually be able to understand Krishna as he is. But there, elsewhere in Bhagavatam earlier, there are some verses where I read that even when we are in a pure devotional state of consciousness, we can understand Krishna substantially, but we cannot understand Krishna 100%, because Krishna is ever expanding, right? His qualities are ever expanding. His beauty is ever expanding. His leelas are ever expanding. So we cannot 100% understand Krishna, but we can, to a great extent, understand Krishna. And of all the people who understand Krishna better, the devotee can understand better, not the jnani or the karma yogi. So with this, I end this particular discussion. If there are any specific questions or comments, welcome. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Pranam Prabhuji.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thanks for a wonderful class, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, please will you help me understand that how these three modes, where does it come from and how does it react, and does it react as per the karmic reactions, or it will help me, Prabhuji, because I'm a little confused about the
Yes. So, as I was saying, this three modes of material nature are there only in the material world. It is not there in the spiritual world. So, everything comes from Krishna. So, these three modes are also a quality given by Krishna for the material mode, how to manage this material world. So, that is a property which Krishna has assigned to the material world. And how do we get the modes, material modes? Now, that has been very clearly given. He says, right, material modes consist of three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. When the living entity comes in contact with nature, O mighty armed Arjuna, he becomes conditioned by these three modes. So these three modes, just like, for example, when you enter water, the body is acquiring the water gets all over the body. If you get and start rolling on the sand, on the earth, the body becomes like, it gets all the sand. If by chance I enter into fire, my body becomes fire. Like this, in this material world, these three gunas are kept. As soon as a jiva touches this world, that means this material world comes into the material nature, then these three gunas are there to, he acquires them. Now, within the three gunas, which guna you are predominant with? I also mentioned it is not like you only get one guna. You have all the three gunas, but which one takes predominance is based on your past karma. If your karma has always been ugra, you have been very, very passionate about things by nature, your desires are very passionate, then you will acquire more of rajoguna. If you are ignorant, if you are acting always without looking at the consequences of what will happen by doing this, you simply act, then you are in the mode of ignorance. But if you are someone who think through the whole thing, consider all the positive, negatives and all that, and take a conscious decision in that action, whatever action you are doing, then you are in the mode of goodness. See, the more and more you are actually acting in whichever category it is, then you will develop more of that guna. Therefore, sometimes I may also act sometimes in the mode of goodness, sometimes in the mode of passion, sometimes in the mode of ignorance. But predominantly, whatever actions I have done, majority I have done, considering evaluating every action pass nicely like that, then I will develop mode of goodness more, and I will acquire that when I am born in the next life. More sattva-guna, maybe lesser tamoguna, even lesser rajoguna. But if I have been predominantly all my actions in my previous lives, majority of them are ignorant activities, not considering the actions and reactions, simply acting without even thinking about it, then when I am taking a body next time, I may be more in the mode of ignorance, and I have to work through that in this jiva. If my actions are trying to be more little refined, then over a period of time, I will acquire sattva guna. I may come to the point of goodness. But by nature, by my actions, I develop these three gunas. And it's also mentioned where it is coming from. Also, is the question that you asked. So he says that know that all states of being, be they of goodness, passion, or ignorance, are manifested by my energy. I am, in one sense, everything, but I am independent. I am not under the modes of material nature, for they, on the contrary, are within me. So these three modes are the energy of Krishna. He has kept that energy in the material world to govern all of us. And how we are governed, in the sense how we will get any of these modes, is based on our actions in the past. Based on our actions, we may get predominated one of these three modes, and we will act. And in the course of our current action, I can change my mode from tamo to rajo to sattva, or I can shift easily from, easily means by practice, I can shift from even whatever, one to another. And even from goodness, I can become ignorant. Because if I change my behavior of being considerate, thinking through everything, if I do things whimsically, then slowly I will be driven into the mode of ignorance. So all are possible. Hare Krishna. Does it answer your question, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Very nicely said. Thank you, Prabhu. And as Prabhuji, like as you were saying, like we can cross over as Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, it's very difficult to cross over the three modes, but it can be done only by through devotional service, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu. By devotional service, Krishna says these three modes are very difficult to overcome, but with by devotional service unto me, it is so easy to cross over this ocean of material existence. It says just like a calf's footprint. This, this sagara, samsara sagara, the entire material world shrinks like that of a calf's footprint. In that, if you put water, it's easy to jump over it. But if it is a sea, ocean, it's difficult to cross over the ocean. But by devotional service, we can easily cross over. That is Krishna's words.
So when we'll come to Shuddha Sattva, Prabhuji, when you cross three modes, so how is that Sattva like? It's like...
So Shuddha Sattva is a state of our existence where we are not caught up by the dualities. That means we are not in the mode of like goodness or in badness. We do not see duality. We see everything in relation to Krishna only. We say, right, oh, this is good, this is bad. This is white, this is black. No, this is all duality. Or this is pain, this is pleasure. But in the spiritual world, there is nothing called duality. Everything is on reality, and that reality is Krishna. And our focus is only on Krishna. They are not at all affected by any of the these dual qualifications. And actually, in the what do you call it, the 14th chapter, Krishna has also talked. Arjuna asked these questions. How do I know that a person has transcendented? That's a very nice question. I will take a minute. It's a bigger purport, but it's a bigger translation. I will read it for your pleasure. So he says, Arjuna asking, this is 14.22 to 25. Arjuna is asking, oh my dear Lord, by which symptoms is one known who is transcendental to these three modes? What is his behavior and how does he transcend the modes of nature? So your specific question, how does he transcend and what is his, how does he behave? What's his nature? So it is mentioned, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O son of Pandu, he who does not hate illumination, attachment and delusion when they are present or long for them when they disappear, who is unwavering and undisturbed through all these reactions of the material qualities, remaining neutral and transcendental, knowing that the modes alone are active. That means he's fully in knowledge that whatever is happening not because of me or the other person, but it is the action of the three modes of material nature and I need to tolerate it. He does not immediately jump either to happiness or sorrow. Who is situated in the self and regards alike happiness and distress, who looks upon a lump of earth, a stone and a piece of gold with an equal eyes, who is equal towards the desirable and the undesirable, who is steady, situated equally well in praise and blame, honor and dishonor, who treats alike both friends and enemy, and who has renounced all material activities. Such a person is said to have transcended the modes of nature. Does it answer your question?
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Very nicely said. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Dandat Pranam.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandat Pranam.
If there is a time I can...
Yes, Prabhu. I have time. I have time. We can discuss for a few minutes.
So this Bhagavad Gita 3.35 purport is telling that Vishwamitra was originally a Kshatriya and Parshurama was originally a Brahmana. But they acted in a different guna. So Vishwamitra became a Brahmanical this one, though he was born as a Kshatriya. In that guna, I mean to say Kshatriya guna. And Parshurama was born in a Brahmana quality, but he exhibited as a Kshatriya. How to understand this both?
Yeah. So as we said, nothing of any of these gunas are material and therefore they can change. One of the properties of material world is change. Correct? Even in our management thing, only change is permanent, they say, in material world. So this changing of the gunas is possible. So we can transcend from tamoguna to rajoguna to sattoguna like this. even from Sattva Guna to Tamo Guna, we can transcend. I talked about this earlier. So, in these two cases, we saw the case of Vishwamitra, because Vishwamitra was having this always this fight with what's his name, Vasishta Muni. Vasishta Muni was in Sattva, but Vishwamitra was in Rajoguna. So always Sattva is better than Rajo, and in many of the instances when they both came across, people could understand Vasishta was above Vishwamitra in the quality. When you may try to prove I am better. In that discussion, finally it landed that people got it that Vasishta is better. Therefore, this Vishwamitra was aspiring, oh, I should beat Vasishta. That is also out of passion only, that I should beat him. But however, that desire actually slowly made him to move towards that. From Kshatriya, he became a Brahmana. So that desire actually made him to transcend from Rajoguna to Sattva-guna. But of course, finally he understood that that's why he fought he went through a lot of difficulties to be declared that what is that Brahma Rishi, that I am greater than Vasishta, like that. So that is the case of Vishwamitra, that he transcended from Kshatriya to Brahmana. The other case what you discussed is about Lord Parshuram taking up the service of Kshatriya. Of course, he was born in a Brahmanical thing, but he is not even, technically, he is an incarnation. He is not a Purna avatar, but he is an incarnation. And therefore, Lord is transcendental to all these modes, but he was born, but he acted, he showed how a Kshatriya should behave. For that matter, Lord Rama also showed how a Kshatriya should behave. But that doesn't mean Rama is in a mode of passion like that. Similarly, Kshatriya, even Parshuram, he was born in that family, but he is transcendental to it. But more importantly, in this case, what you are highlighting is he took up the position, the mode of, or rather the profession of a Kshatriya. And as I said, each are interchangeable. We all can change our guna by our practice. If I want to become ignorant, I simply act whimsically without thinking through the consequences. If I keep doing that very often, then I will naturally acquire this tamoguna. But if I'm tamoguna, but every time I'm acting, my nature will be to act like immediately without thinking about it. But if I think, no, let me think and then do it, I make it a conscious effort to think about every activity, what I'm going to do, why I'm going to do, how this will affect everything. If I start thinking, then from there, I can slowly elevate myself to either Rajoguna or Sattva-guna, possible. Does it sort of address your 2 points, Prabhu?
Yeah, I got a clarity on these two aspects, Prabhu. That one more sub-question associated with this.
Yes, Prabhu.
Here in the same sloka, it is addressed as prescribed duty. Here it mentioned that Kshatriya is the mode of passion, allowed to be violent. So my curiosity to know that, is there any of this guna is condemned here? Either Rajoguna or Tamoguna or Sattva-guna, any of these three gunas is condemned, or it is allowed to exhibit, or dovetail to the spiritual duties.
Yeah. Okay. So when each guna has some specific characteristics associated with the guna. So in that way, you can say that is the dharma of the guna. So in that guna, you are allowed to act like that. This is in a very narrow sense. But when you look at it from a very higher level, they are just steps to go forward. That doesn't mean my job is simply to, a Kshatriya is allowed to kill, right? Therefore, he kills. I mean, a kill also not simply kill anything and everyone. It is mentioned specifically, he can go to the forest and hunt the animals. And that doesn't mean he can't hunt any animal or any animal. His duty is to hunt those which are actually the ecological balance, what we call it. Sometimes when the deers are becoming too much, then there is a disturbance to the ecological thing. And then who is empowered to do this work only that Kshatriya can do. Even in our today's context, if you see, there are forest department. If I go and cut a tree in a forest, then I can be arrested. But a forest officer is allowed to cut, and he cannot also cut whimsically. He can cut as per whatever guidelines they have in the forest department. If this tree becomes too much, you can cut it. Yeah, then anyway, that tree can be cut. Why can't Vidura Madhav Das go and cut it? I'm not allowed to cut it. So it's like those are the prescribed duties, you can say. But idea is to transcend all of these things. Krishna very clearly told these prescribed duties means you are working within a system, and therefore you are developing. Animals don't work within a system. They just do whimsically. Hey, I want to marry. I will go and kill that other lion. I now don't have a wife. I don't care whether that other lion, that other lion is the father of many cubs there, so he should take care of his family. I should not go disturb. I don't care. I simply go and kill that lion, and I become the head of that family. It is animal kingdom. But in the when we say prescribed duties, we are restricting ourselves. I may want to do so many things, but I may want to eat meat every day. But Vedas restrict. No. You can, if at all you have a desire to eat, you can eat on Amavasya in this time after doing this Kali Puja, whatever. So there is a kind of a control. So I am learning to control myself slowly and elevate my consciousness. So these prescribed duties in a material sense are there to regulate our life and take us forward. But ultimately, many people think, okay, if I am a Kshatriya, if I kill, it is okay. If I am a Brahmana, if I am simply Sattvic, that is enough. No. You are supposed to transcend even the Sattvic nature. You are supposed to transcend your Tamo Guna. You are supposed to transcend your Rajo Guna. But situated in Shuddha Sattva. That means dovetailing everything in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That understanding if we have, and if we work in devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then all these modes are transcendental. Is that okay, Prabhu?
Thanks for the details. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So, Hare Krishna devotees, thank you for this wonderful association of all of you. Nice questions. Including me, we were all thinking more in this subject matter for the last 1.25 hours. So, very, very helpful for all of our spiritual progress. Thank you all very much. Thank you all for this opportunity. Srimad Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.